What is happening, everybody? It's time for another MLB Live Before Lock. Coming off a holiday weekend. Hopefully, you all enjoyed yourself this weekend, had some good times. Hopefully, all your limbs are intact, nothing blown apart with fireworks or anything like that. Hopefully, I hope today is the final day for my neighbors firing off fireworks.
Unreal.
We'll see. I'm not one of these people, too, who's like, don't do the fireworks or whatever. It does get a little bit annoying, though. We're on like 8 days in a row or something like that of people shooting off fireworks, and it went on last night. Went on Saturday night. I think you had said something similar in your neighborhood, Eric. So today, I have to think people are back to work today. This should be the end of the fireworks, and it won't be until midnight with the explosions going off. We'll see, though. We'll see. In the interim, guys, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We got a good 9-game slate to cover for you guys today. Eric and I are going to be breaking down, the normal deal, trying to figure out our favorite pitchers, our favorite stacks. We'll answer your guys' questions. And if you guys are looking for content on the late slate, by the way, go to my Twitter page. I'm going to be posting a breakdown of the late slate right after we get off of this show, pinned to the top of my Twitter page. So go check that out if you guys are going to be playing some of the late slate, something new that I've been trying out over there. Eric, how was your holiday weekend?
Yeah, it was good. Besides, Duke freaking out over fireworks a little bit. He ended up sleeping with mom and dad the entire time because he hated it. He normally just goes out on the hardwood floor in our living room, but when it's like getting blasted every 4 seconds, he was freaking out a little bit. So I felt like at the end of it, I felt like Shooter McGavin. Damn it, you people, just go back to your shanties. Like a little bit of that. Just come on, man. What are we doing here? Fireworks suck. They suck.
To me, if you've seen fireworks once or twice, you've probably gotten the gist and you've seen it all of the time. Now, by the way, I have numerous firework instances. I've lit on fire from fireworks. I've seen them up close and personal, the whole deal. So, I don't know what else there is you could possibly see from fireworks you haven't already seen. Like maybe, sure, if you're going to like Disney and there's like a crazy light show or something like that, if you're just in your buddy's backyard, you are not going to see anything. You haven't seen it fireworks before, other than maybe somebody dies or gets maimed. Other than that, you're probably going to see the normal sort of fireworks show.
I just find them so ridiculous. And as you said, Disneyland, after a baseball game with professionals setting them off, sounds great. Those are enjoyable experiences if you've got young kids and enjoying it, doing whatever else. But holy shit, if you're out there in your backyard with little sizzle sticks and those little, the little cars that spin around with sparks everywhere, honestly, get help. They're not fun. We live in the year of our Lord 2025, where we have way more enjoyable things that you can do. I have 48 that I can name off the top of my head. So, legitimately, do something else. Fireworks are the worst.
Yeah, so we'll see it. We'll see if today is the end of the fireworks or not, but only time will tell. Hopefully, it'll be fireworks in our DFS lineups and hitters going out and hitting lots of home runs today. Pitchers hopefully shutting down opposing offenses. The field is going to be playing a shit ton of the Boston Red Sox. Even though this game is being played in Boston and not in Coors Field, it is being rostered as if this game is taking place at Coors Field. So that'll be a talking point when Eric and I get over to offenses. At pitcher, which is where we're going to start here, we have got a bunch of ownership going to Jacob deGrom as a pay-up option. And that's where I want to start here, Eric, is we have a few good pitchers that we could reasonably pay up for this slate, but none of them are close to the kind of output that we are expecting or projecting from Jacob deGrom. So he has got a great strikeout matchup against the Angels. As a result, he is 51% owned. And I'll just group the 4 most expensive pitchers together because they're all pulling some semblance of ownership. So you got Yamamoto at 10.5, 30% owned against the Brewers. Just touched on deGrom. Freddie Peralta is 16% owned at home against the Dodgers. And then Christopher Sanchez, 22% owned on the road, pitching against the San Francisco Giants. But with Jacob deGrom, clearly, he's a very strong option to be rostering tonight, Eric. But relative to his ownership, do you want to be at the field, overweight, or underweight to him?
I want to be right around the field on him. About half of my lineups, I'm playing 25 lineups today, and he's going to be in probably 12, 13 of them when it's all said and done based on what I'm looking at in the Sims. Maybe a little bit more when it's all said and done, but I think I'm going to have a more aggressive stance on one pitcher, just below Jacob deGrom there and Christopher Sanchez. So I just kind of look at the lineup right now. Texas, Jacob deGrom gets to go up against the Angels. it's as good of a strikeout matchup as you could possibly ask for. And there's been these random, like, oh, Jacob deGrom didn't generate any swing and miss. I don't think we're going to have that concern today. So you're adding, into the fact, yeah, he's got a lower ground ball percentage than like all of these guys up here. And that freaks me out a little bit, but 3.28 xFIP, 2.6 WAR. I mean, everything across the board for him looks pretty damn back. Like, it's nice to have Jacob deGrom back. You look at his stuff plus 109, 110 location plus, 121 pitching plus, just dominates this slate. So yeah, against the Angels, I'm going to have a lot.
Yeah, Jacob deGrom, to me, very clearly the top overall option on the slate. You guys see, not making any kind of adjustments to the Sims. He shows up in 60% of lineups, so even overweight relative to that 52% ownership. To me, the other part of this that's really interesting is, all right, so deGrom, play him in cash on FanDuel and DraftKings. He's one of your 2 cash game pitchers. Who's your second favorite pitcher to pair him with in cash games, though?
Christopher Sanchez. Not even close, actually. I'm a little bit appalled by the field to some extent. Like, Yamamoto is good. Yamamoto is 10-5 today, and Christopher Sanchez is 8,800. Yusei Kikuchi, if you wanted to go that direction, I can maybe see the path. I mean, Texas, there have been days that are just like, what are you even watching? But Texas has mainly struggled against hitting fastballs all season. I mean, they were talking about it nonstop. If you watch that San Diego game, they're the worst team in baseball against the fastball. Yusei Kikuchi isn't going to blow you away with a fastball. Like, that's still like his 35.4% usage, like on a four-seamer, but he is a slider-specific pitcher. And I do think that there's going to be paths to get to some Texas bats as leverage there. But for cash game purposes, you get Christopher Sanchez with a 6.5 K prop now. I think it got up to 6.5 at some point, with over under 18.5 outs in San Francisco. We haven't seen the San Francisco lineup, but I got to think it's going to be pretty advantageous for strikeouts with the number of righties that are going to be in it that have advantageous strikeout matchups. I'm far more inclined to just take Christopher Sanchez.
If you look at the projections that we have in here in the Sims of pay up options, so I'm sure if people have already looked ahead a little bit, our data really, really likes Yusei Kikuchi, and we'll talk about him in a little bit. But if we're just talking about pay up options here, we get some more exposure to Sanchez than Freddie Peralta, more exposure to Sanchez than Yamamoto. Yamamoto, who, if anybody rosters him, no issue with that whatsoever. Now, with that said, does look to be a little bit too popular, both in terms of what our data shows and some of the other Sims that I ran with, some of the stuff that I tinker around with as well. So, if you have the salary to pay up for Yamamoto and fit in with deGrom, cool. Go play both of them. That's not an issue at all. But relative to the 31% ownership, Eric, I don't think I'm going to be quite as high as the field is on Yamamoto.
He's coming off of Colorado and the White Sox. Like, I know it was rain shortened, so the 5 innings that you saw could have easily been 7 or 8 and like just a massive 40 burger for Yamamoto in the event that game didn't have surprising rain. It bailed me out, so I'm happy about it. I had the under 6.5 strikeouts for him. I was so toast, and obviously we talked about it, being way underweight to him in DFS on that specific slate in Coors, played some Colorado bats. Boy, was that not going to go well in any way, shape, or form, but ended up getting bailed out there. Yamamoto's looked better the last 2, but has anything drastically changed between some of the beliefs I've had when you take on Colorado and the White Sox? No, he hasn't played a functional offense. Now, that being said, I don't think the White Sox are the Brewers are world beaters by any means. And, there's going to be decent enough strikeout upside, but the price tag just kind of gets me off of it in a way where, man, I'm saving almost $2,000 to get to Sanchez with his props across the board. I don't really get why people aren't just jamming Sanchez in this range.
Yeah. So I guess the one argument against jamming him, because I am overweight to the field on Christopher Sanchez, by the way, the argument against just jamming him would be if you're jamming deGrom, you kind of run out of other guys to be completely jamming for the slate. But I do agree. I think he looks really good. He's my second favorite pay up option. As far as Peralta goes, it's just hard to like the matchup against the Dodgers. Yamamoto, a little bit too expensive and a little bit too popular for my liking. And then we could start talking about some of the other cheaper pitchers, because those are the 4 spend ups. Unless, do you have anything else you want to add about Sanchez, Peralta, deGrom, Yamamoto?
No, not really. I mean, I guess the one thing is like ownership is still a big part of the equation. And I do think that Christopher Sanchez, when it's all said and done, might get steamed up a little bit. We have a higher projection on him than Freddie Peralta. He's obviously not taking on the Dodgers. He's taking on a Phillies offense that has functionality, but they're very strikeout heavy with some of those specific the San Francisco Giants. They are a functional offense to some extent, but they still have a number of strikeouts that are available to them there. And I feel pretty confident with Christopher Sanchez in San Francisco that that's just going to probably be something that everybody else gets attention of as well. Yamamoto, his price tag probably keeps that ownership in check no matter what. So yeah, if you want to go up there, he's looked much improved the last two, but I'm going to kind of wait to see it against a functional offense.
Let's talk about the next range of pitchers, and we could just group all the 7K and the other remaining 8K guys together. You don't have these other 8K guys really being all that meaningful for the slate. Barrios, even though he's pitching against the White Sox, he's only 4% on. Then you got Yu Darvish, who's likely going to be pretty restricted, making his big league return after he's been injured all year against the Diamondbacks. That kind of takes him out of consideration. Noah Cameron, who you and I both liked last slate, but that was because he was going up against the Mariners, and there was no Cal Raleigh in the lineup that night. So you get all of these guys in the 7 and 8K range. Most of them have pretty much no ownership from the field. The exceptions being Yusei Kikuchi, now 26% projected owned. So it's actually gone up a little bit since our last update. And then Tanner Bybee at a very cheap price point, just 7K. He is 19% owned against Cleveland. Who is your favorite pitcher amongst the 7K guys and the couple of other options in the 8K range we didn't touch on yet?
Can we talk through Noah Cameron a little bit? Because I'm having a very, very difficult time figuring out what is going to happen. So last night, recorded Lindy's, went through it, and I couldn't believe Noah Cameron was the projected starter. He pitched on the second because I was like, we just broke him down. He was in Seattle. He goes 4 2/3, gets into one jam, and gets pulled. Only 5 strikeouts, 4 2/3, 80 pitches. But it kind of led me into this because that was kind of a big talking point for you and I. And I think this is the talking point today. 82, 102, 83, 88, 84, 80. Those are his pitch counts in 5 of his, or like those are his pitch counts of his last 6 games. Only one time has he gone over 88 pitches. And now he's pitching on 4 days rest. I think he's got the best matchup in terms of strikeouts. You've seen Pittsburgh strike out nearly 30% over the last month. You're seeing them 27% on the aggregate on the season against left-handed pitching. And Noah Cameron, I think, is really good in terms of run avoidance. Like, he's just one of those guys who's been awesome this entire season, but I don't know how to handle this. I ended up, for our betting ticket that we put together with Aton, crazy person, took his under 2.5 earned runs because I feel most confident in that. But like, what do you think his workload looks like? Because I haven't bet anything else attached to it yet, but boy, do I want to, because I just think that there's real downside on the outs. But if there's not, if you think he can get to 90 pitches, he would be my favorite option for DFS today.
He pitched we got pretty decent DFS results out of him last start. It was a slate where there wasn't a ton of options to go to at pitcher. He went 4 2/3 innings, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. The problem is this. He threw 80 pitches and didn't make it through 5 innings with arguably having his best start of the season, or at the very least one of his best starts of the season. So his leash is so short. I know he has eclipsed 100 pitches at other points in time this year, although that was also a game where they just kind of got their asses kicked, and I think they just kind of left him out there against the Yankees because they knew the game was already dead anyway. I really think most games just want to keep him to like 4 or 5 innings and 80 pitches.
Yeah, so I mean, this is I guess the thing, because I think he's got the highest strikeout upside even in like a limited sample because it's Pittsburgh, like because of the matchup specifically. Zach Gallen has to go up against San Diego. That's not a lot of fun. Brady Singer has less strikeout stuff than you or myself. And then Kikuchi's just crazy popular. So I think that's the thing where like Kikuchi makes the most sense on this slate. You and I brought that up on the onset. So there's that. But like, I think you were basically asking me, like, is there anybody else outside of Kikuchi that I might like? It would be Noah Cameron. But why is he pitching on 4 days rest? And the other part too, Kansas City, they used their 2 main bullpen or their setup guy and their closer yesterday. Otherwise, the entire middle of the pen is all wide open, ready to go today. So like, this gets really uncomfortable because I want to play Noah Cameron in DFS today, and I just don't think I'm going to get there. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, I'm not really all that interested in him today. I think there's just so many pitching options that we could get to today that it's not too much of a concern for me that I don't have him. If he ends up outscoring like Sanchez, Peralta, Kikuchi, Bybee, then sure, I guess I just end up not winning today. But I'm okay with that. I don't think it's super likely outscores all of those guys. As far as Kikuchi goes, I'm really curious to see what his ownership ends up being. We were talking a little bit about this before the show started and a little bit at the top. How popular do you think Kikuchi is going to get in smaller field stuff? Because there are a lot of decent pitching options today, but I could see him being what Erod was the other day, where we get to lock and you look at single entry stuff. It's like, oh, Kikuchi is the second most popular pitcher on the slate. He's 30% owned, it's literally exactly what happened with Erod, where it was a great spot for him considering the matchup. I still think it's a good spot for Kikuchi considering the matchup. Really like him for large field tournaments. I do think in small field stuff, though, he is somebody who's going to be interesting to potentially stack against for leverage.
I don't know what his ownership is going to get to because the chalk of our slate is Boston, and they're not expensive at all. Like, they're truly like bargain basement for what you would expect Boston to be against Austin Gomber in really good hitting weather. And, there's nobody that is cost prohibitive whatsoever. We've got 4 guys in the outfield, all sub 4,500, 3 of them sub 4K. We've got Story at 4K. We've got Romy Gonzalez, 4,400. I think he's the most expensive guy considering Duran isn't in this lineup. Outside of Abreu, who, 4,500 is probably a good contrarian piece if you want to go that direction today. But I think we probably see more ownership than what we have there. He was projected a little bit higher this morning. We had talked about that before the show. I wouldn't be shocked to see him north of 32%, but because Boston is easy to get to with Yamamoto and DeGrom and Peralta and Sanchez, like amongst those 4, I still think we see some pretty concentrated ownership around DeGrom like we have projected. And I think the other 3 might end up right around where they are. And that might just keep him in check. But if you told me that we got to flip and you told me which one of those 5 pitchers had a chance to be higher projected than we had, I would pick Kikuchi every single time.
Yeah, so all things like large field tournaments, I think Kikuchi is the best guy to be rostering in the 7 and 8K range. Tanner Bybee, I'm kind of surprised his ownership is as high as it is, just because the matchup against the Houston Astros, and also the fact that he just had a relatively a very down season by the standards of Tanner Bybee. So as far as his overall numbers for the year, 4.2 ERA, 3.62 expected ERA, not terrible. The 21% strikeout rate, that is way down overall for the year. I do look at the price point on Tanner Bybee at 7K, and I think it's interesting. But now that we have Bybee and Kikuchi kind of closer in projected ownership for large field GPPs, I just strongly prefer Kikuchi to Bybee.
Yeah, he's got a little bit higher swinging strike rate, 11.1% against righties. The strikeout stuff hasn't come along against them, only 20.5% next to 21.5%. So again, very negligible difference, but still at least worth noting. My main thing is that there's no lefties that can really inflict any damage on him. He's given up a 209 ISO to lefties on the season, and obviously plays in a ballpark that plays up for lefty power in Progressive. Now in Houston, 127 ISO against righties. He's done a good job of keeping it in the yard against them, of limiting some of the major power there. Could it be a spot where he goes 6 innings, sneaks a couple more strikeouts? Sweet. I'm a little surprised. Did you see his K prop earlier today?
4.5, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was 5.5, unless I just had it listed wrong. Yeah, it's still 5.5. 5.5. I'm a little surprised to see it that high. It speaks to some of the splits. We have Houston with some new pieces that they've called up. Their outfield has been a disaster. They're trying to make Taylor Trammell and Cooper Hummel, and now this Kennedy Corona fellow. So that's going to be enjoyable. There are some interesting fellows in that lineup. Cam Smith is up to the 2-hole. He's your 1 strikeout target amongst everybody there. You don't have Yanner Diaz in the lineup, which he's had reverse splits over the course of his career, right on right. And Victor Caratini, I don't find to be crazy scary from the left side, but you get a situation where Tanner Bybee's been really good against them. And now you get all these young prospect pieces. And Zach Short, I mean, he was just a complete failure in Detroit. Like, there wasn't a whole lot there. He struck out a metric ton back then. So look at his 12.5% K rate. Don't even look into that. He's been for a career 28.4% for a strikeout rate. So like, there are strikeouts in the bottom half of that lineup. I don't know. He's somebody that I understand why the ownership's there. It's just a little bit surprising because like the strikeout stuff just hasn't been there whatsoever.
We got a super chat here from Sean Jeezy, and this will lead us into talking about the punt pitcher. Sean wants to know, if you have to play a cheap pitcher, Fitz or Burke, I somewhat like both a low ownership. Also, how do you guys feel about stacking against Darvish with his returning form uncertain? So the first thing I'll say is you really don't have to punt at pitcher today, but if you had to, I'm going to say Dick Fitz just because he's pitching against the Colorado Rockies. Now, with that said, I much prefer for my lineups, I much prefer stacking the Rockies than rostering Fitz. But if I had to pick one, I mean, it's the Rockies. Like, that kind of sells itself as a case for an unknown pitcher to roster.
That was all I was going to say. If you have to, like if you are making a lineup and you landed on the absolute nuts that has 6,200 or something of that nature, sounds great. Don't mind the bear behind me that just woke up from hibernation. But yeah, very much here to play pitchers against the Rockies. I just don't think this is necessary. I don't think this is the spot where you have to try to make it work. We have too many other pitchers that have certified workloads. And that's the whole thing against Cameron as well, where it's just like, if you're only going to give me 80, 85 pitches on this slate, and that's like the tippy top range for Fitz too, I think it's just kind of unnecessary.
Yeah, so I agree with you, unnecessary. But answering Sean's question, the way that it was framed, Fitz if it has to be one guy. And then also he wants to know how to feel about stacking against Darvish with his returning form uncertain. So yeah, Darvish going up against the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks offense itself also is, shorthanded. It's also not in full tip-top shape when you consider that there is no Corbin Carroll because he's got the hand injury.
No, he's back. He got back over the weekend.
Oh, did he? I missed that.
Sunday. Yeah, he played Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, never mind then. But either way, so Arizona Diamondbacks, here's the biggest issue I have. I understand the framing of it where, what if Darvish is going to be rusty or something like that? His pitch count, I believe, is going to be low enough to where it's mostly going to be a bullpen game. And the Padres have a really good bullpen. That could be a little bit problematic. Like, I understand the viewpoint of just what if Darvish looks really rusty coming back. Also, he was already showing signs of decline before getting hurt anyway. Yeah, so I get it, but there's other offenses I prefer.
Yeah, and the other thing too is their bullpen. They did a clean breakup yesterday because they were able to just play from ahead. San Diego playing ahead is maybe my favorite live bet. I haven't been doing a ton of it, but like outside of Suarez one time just absolutely making me eat crow when I was just jamming San Diego. They've been a great live bet target, but on Saturday they played their Hoang, Matsui, Nunez, Peralta because they were getting their ass kicked. And then yesterday, they ended up going to their main guys. Now, I think because it's only one day in between, they're live to just play whoever they want here. So the bullpen, they have full access to it. If Darvish gets his ass kicked early, I can guarantee you they're not going to let him go hang himself and get 5 or 6 earned tabbed up on him. They're going to be quick in there realizing that there's still some stuff that needs, like it's going to basically be like an extended version of Ohtani where they're like putting the kid gloves on him. If anything were to happen poorly, which, fortunately hasn't happened to Ohtani really yet, they'll just quick hook him. They'll get him out of there. They have access to every single piece in the pen. And think about it this way too. We have 6 days of baseball before the All-Star break. We have 6 days. There's 1 day off, I think, for most teams on Thursday. And I think San Diego is one of them. I will double check right now. But knowing that, they have the kind of bullpen where they can just fire up absolutely everybody and not think about it too much. They play Arizona every day this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's wild.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Corbin Carroll, confirm the starting lineup. I don't know why I looked at the Diamondbacks lineup and thought he wasn't in it, but
it's okay. Matter. You're a fake sharp. It's fine.
Oh, that's as fake as they come. People don't know. I've been photoshopping Pickett screenshots for years now, Eric. for years.
Guy.
In cahoots with the third-party tracking services.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You'd be at the top of that agenda, let me tell you.
The other thing too, I don't know how nobody's figured this out yet. I've been paying for food and Monopoly money for years. For years, nobody's called me out on it. I just hand draw the money. I just put a $20 bill and I hand it to the guys at restaurants. Hasn't been an issue.
It's an IOU. It's as good as money.
Some would say even better because it's a promise. Let's see what we had for Discord questions. We had one from Westbrook Forever wants to know our favorite FanDuel stack. Yeah, we'll touch on that in a second here. Larson 407 wants to know, do I handle 3 max similarly to single entry when it comes to leverage stacks or focused on high scoring stacks? Yes. I do view 3 max tournaments generally the same as single entry in terms of how it impacts ownership.
Correct.
And let's see, no other questions, just other ones about offense right now. People are asking us about the rain delay. Yeah, so the Miami-Cincinnati game is going to be opening in a rain delay, but should be fine. It looks like, here, I'll pull up the weather right here.
I'm not worried about it right now.
All right, so weather, yeah, so it's raining right now. It goes down to a 10% chance of rain an hour from now. So I think the game, going to start in a delay. It's going to clear up in, like 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it ends up being. And then I think that we should be totally clear for the rest of the night. So if anything, it's a little bit better for the pitchers because you don't have to worry about them potentially, starting than having to come out or anything like that. But not a game where I'm really heavily considering the pitchers anyway. Anything else you want to talk about as far as the overall slate goes for pitching over on DraftKings? If not, we'll look at the FanDuel pitchers.
Colton Gordon, the one guy that I actually think is somewhat interesting. I think the strikeout stuff is going to play up as we go along. It hasn't really been there yet, but he was in Coors. He also took on Philly in a game that they had the entire bullpen intact and just basically, he was pretty conservative along the way there. No Bryce Harper from the left side in that lineup yet for him as well. Bryce Harper got back after that series was over. You had the Athletics in that little tiny ballpark. You took on my Twins where he had a decent enough outing. I watched that one through and through. He's had a little bit of a home run problem that's kind of trickled into the repertoire over the course of the last month and a half. But man, Cleveland's bad against lefties. Like they are truly, truly bad against lefties. And I don't think that that's going to stop anytime soon with this version of David Fry up there batting second. They are really trying to make him a thing in some way, shape, or form. But just a 72 WRC plus 24.8% K rate against Southpaws on the season. I think that there's a little something there. So I'm rolling him out in right around, 4 of my 25. I think he's probably like the one contrarian guy on the cheap that's underneath Kikuchi. If you just swap 1 for 1 in a couple of lineups, I don't completely hate it.
We do have a super chat here from Amy. Amy wants to know who it is that we like for tiers today. So Eric, I'm going to read off some of my favorite tiers options. And do you want to look at it too, or you just want me to do it? Either way.
Yeah, start crying. That's my favorite tiers. That's my
favorite. Yeah, I need to bring back the water bottle with your tiers on it. Tier 1 for me is Ellie De La Cruz.
It is going to be Ellie De La Cruz. No, Ohtani.
Okay. Tier 2 for me is Bobby Witt Jr.
Bobby Witt Jr.
Tier 3 for me, that is going to be Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Hunter Goodman.
Tier 4 for me, that is going to be George Springer. So getting a little bit more exposure to the Blue Jays.
Yeah, George Springer for sure.
And then tier 5, let's see. Can't correlate anybody with the other guys that I've given out here. So instead for tier 5, I am going to go with, I guess, just the best offensive environment at this point and go with Willy Abreu.
So contrarian batting 7th. I mean, yeah, I'll go with that one too. I think Willy Abreu is probably one of the best tournament targets on the slate.
And then finally, tier 6, where we could go with pitchers. I mean, you could go with any of the pitchers here, so I don't know how you don't just say DeGrom.
So one thing that exists on tiers today, because I'm just going through it, they have Hunter Brown listed. Don't play Hunter Brown. Maybe click the auto advanced positions button. Does it have it? Nope, doesn't even have it listed. So yeah, obviously don't play Hunter Brown. It's just Jacob DeGrom. Just play DeGrom.
Yeah, DeGrom, they've got I mean, they've got a Pavetta in here too. Like there's some,
Oops.
there's just pitchers that are listed in here who aren't starting today. So yeah, easy to just not play the pitchers who aren't starting. Once again, if you guys haven't done it, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, I have an offer for you guys. We have an addition to our link join program. So if you guys see all the way at the bottom, there is what appears to be a pirate is their logo there. That is a new partner of ours, Wanna Parlay. It is a Pick'em DFS site. And if you guys sign up at Wanna Parlay, so go right to our link join page, which is down below in the YouTube description box. I assume you guys have probably not heard of it. Unless you were watching a show earlier where there was an ad read for it. Probably haven't heard of it. Probably haven't signed up there. And here's a good reason to take advantage of it. You're going to get a deposit bonus offer when you sign up there. And in addition, 1 free month of a core Sims package of your choosing. So if you want to go sign up over there, you get a free deposit bonus over there. You are also going to get yourself 1 free month of Sims access. So go check it out. It's a really good offer for you guys. We've talked about how some of these offers, they come and go from the link join page, but this is a new one that we just added. So hopefully you guys take advantage of it, and then you're able to get yourself some free access to our tool. So a new one added to the program right there. If you have any questions about how the link join works, hit me up on Twitter. My DMs are open. I can answer any questions, but pretty simple. Just follow the page down below. And if you're in the YouTube description box, you click on that. It'll give you a step-by-step, like 4 things to do. Pretty easy to follow. And then you'll get yourself some free stuff over there. Eric, ready to talk about some stacks now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So first things first, let's talk about, well, actually, really quick, because I forgot to mention this. Just play DeGrom over on FanDuel. That's my general FanDuel take here.
Yeah, play DeGrom. I will say Christopher Sanchez is probably my favorite contrarian option just because the chances
they've the same ownership DeGrom and Sanchez, though.
I know, but I'm just saying. I'm looking at it, and I like both of them. I understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's expensive over on FanDuel DeGrom, but still, only 12% owned for DeGrom against the Los Angeles Angels. The best strikeout matchup that any pitcher could have. You're also getting a lot of leverage because the chalk over on FanDuel is Yusei Kikuchi pulling over 20% ownership. So in the event that DeGrom pitches well and gets a win, that's when you're not getting from the Kikuchi side of it. And I mean, Kikuchi's also fairly expensive over on FanDuel, $9,200. I love DeGrom over on FanDuel, but any other differences you have between FanDuel and DraftKings?
No, I mean, it's very, very, you're playing one pitcher. I'm going to play DeGrom. I'm going to play a little bit of Sanchez, and that would be just about it.
All right. By the way, Nate in the chat wants to know, is there going to be an NBA Summer League package? So not on Stokastic, but here's somebody you could go check out. Our friend DK DFS.
Oh, yeah.
DK covers all things basketball in his Tails package. WNBA, NBA, NBA Summer League. He'll probably have NBA.
He's the best. He's the best in the industry. If you want to bet NBA Summer League, you just go to DK DFS over on Tails on OddsShopper, and you follow him. He is forward-facing, showing you all of his results. He's always been one of my favorite follows on X, and then became a friend of mine, and obviously super stoked to have him in Tails. You guys need to be checking him out because the package pays for itself. WNBA, NBA Summer League, the guy is the absolute go to both.
Yeah, so if you're looking for Summer League stuff, go check out DK and follow him on Twitter if you aren't already. Yeah, Nate said he's already following DK. And then, yeah, he's got his Tails package as well where he posts stuff in there that you could use for WNBA DFS, NBA Summer League DFS. So go check that out. Nicholas Barrett says, wow, better than Josh. Well, Josh doesn't cover WNBA or NBA Summer League. Josh covers what Josh covers, which is not those things.
Fact.
Let's see. Were there any other questions? Let's start by talking about our favorite FanDuel stack to get us going here on offenses, because that is something that we got a Discord question about. This one coming to us from Westbrook Forever wants to know favorite FanDuel stacks for tournaments. So over on the FanDuel side of things here, Eric, I am pulling up the ownership and refreshing it to make sure that we were looking at the most recent stuff here. And for FanDuel ownership, the Red Sox are 18% owned. The Phillies are 10% owned. The Reds are 10% owned. The Royals are 10% owned. The Blue Jays are 9% owned. Everything else is contrarian. I do think to some extent you can't avoid the Red Sox today. There is discussion to be had whether you want to be over or underweight to the field team at 18% projected ownership over on FanDuel. What is your overall favorite stack on FanDuel, including ownership considerations if you're just playing one lineup?
Oh boy. Probably going to be Cincinnati over on FanDuel. Toronto. I'm a liar. Toronto.
Great matchup against Sean. I mean, pretty much everything is a good matchup against the Chicago White Sox, no matter who. I know at different times, different pitchers have pitched. Like Adrian Hauser, all of a sudden, like, oh, his numbers look really good, but none of us really buy into that as being like a long-term thing or anything like that. It's a hitter-friendly ballpark. It is bad starting pitching. It's bad relief pitching that comes in after it. And you get relatively modest ownership on the Blue Jays. You got the second best odds being the top value stack over on FanDuel, second best odds being the highest scoring stack over on FanDuel, and that comes with them being the fifth overall highest owned team on the slate. I agree with you. I think the Blue Jays look great in our data.
Yeah, they look phenomenal. They're my favorite stack for FanDuel, not on DK.
Yeah, DK is going to be a little bit different here, but yeah, Westbrook forever. Go ahead, and I like the Blue Jays quite a bit over on FanDuel now. For DraftKings, and this is going to apply to FanDuel as well, the Red Sox are clearly, if you just told me which team scores the most runs today, the best guess is the Red Sox. The problem, though, is the ownership and then what some of the ownership might look like in small field stuff as well. So I think the Red Sox do look solid as a large field GPP play, but for small field stuff, and you guys will see here, when I ran the Sims, nearly half of my top 150 lines without making any adjustments to the Sims were the Red Sox. But for single entry stuff where these hitters are going to be like 30-ish% owned, I prefer to go elsewhere for single entry. But Eric, what do you make of the Red Sox ownership to start?
It's a lot. It's a lot of ownership. It's not the best lineup today either. I will say that as well. When you just think about like fantasy upside, how can you accomplish fantasy upside in like a ceiling capacity? Well, running would be useful. And the guy who runs the most, and Jarren Duran, is not in the lineup today, considering it's a lefty out there and they have a number of these righties now that they can utilize. Nate Eaton, probably not going to be long for that game. The numbers that the sportsbooks have really caught on immediately to it. I almost bet a single in Washington. He got pinch hit for after 2 at-bats, and that was really frustrating. That's going to be something where, you know, they have David Hamilton that can come in there. They have Marcelo Meyer, who they've pinch hit for. Some of those guys up top here as well. But considering there's Carlos Narvaez, who's all the way down to the 6 hole today for some reason. And then also they don't have Duran in that lineup. They don't have Meyer in that lineup because it's a lefty. Like, it's just not my favorite looking Boston lineup to have as mega chalk. That's for sure.
Yeah, certainly a great source of salary savings as well. Large field tournaments going to be playing them single entry. I'd rather look elsewhere. So with that said, Eric, you had said you really like Toronto for FanDuel. I agree with you. I like Toronto a lot for FanDuel. What is your favorite single entry stack for DraftKings, though?
It's going to be the one, the only Texas Rangers. I've got to do it. Yusei Kikuchi's not going to be in my single entry lineup. And I do think the Kikuchi ownership could get out of hand. I think you're definitely onto something. You brought it up with Erod against the Royals. You played the Royals in single entry. You made money. I did not. You're smart. I'm dumb. You're handsome. I'm less attractive. So we have that going for us, which is not nice. Yeah, I definitely like getting to the Texas Rangers. You get Wyatt Langford back. I got to think that he's much healthier this time around because he was just broken there with that side issue. And I'm glad that they gave him some extra time off to kind of be able to sit there and figure it out. Left on left, Kikuchi's been good, but Corey Seager is better. You definitely have Wyatt Langford, Marcus Semien, and the fact that that lineup still isn't out yet, and we're just about to lock. No, it did drop here. Haggerty's leading off. Okay, so they did end up doing that. Only one lefty in the lineup today. That's Corey Seager batting second. I feel pretty good about that against Kikuchi.
I'm really stuck in between two teams. One of them is the Texas Rangers. I wish we just knew what Kikuchi's ownership was going to be in small field stuff. If you told me that Kikuchi's going to be 30+% owned in single entry fields, then my answer would definitely be the Texas Rangers. But the other team I like as well, which also just go with a different answer because you already went with Texas. So once again, I think is a really solid small field play. The Colorado Rockies, it's a really favorable hitting environment. Obviously, it's not Coors Field, but should be favorable hitting it at Fenway today. And then also Richard/Dick Fitz, who's going to be on the mound for Boston. This guy stinks. He is not a major league caliber pitcher at all. He's got a 4.5 ERA, but a 5.69 expected ERA, a 5.94 FIP. Doesn't really generate strikeouts. He gives up a lot of fly balls, and it also has a really high home run to fly ball rate. So these are some of the pitchers that I love picking on. 39% ground ball rate with a 21% home run to fly ball rate. That's pretty appealing. just the rub is that you have to play this terrible, no good, awful Colorado Rockies offense that has maybe the best hitting catcher in the National League right now. Not in baseball, because that's clearly Cal Raleigh, but in the National League, it's probably Hunter Goodman. So you got one guy you can feel good about with the bat in his hand. The rest of the offense just stinks, but I don't know that they stink any worse than Dick Fitz does.
Yeah, he's good, man.
Oh, you're not going to add to that? You just want to get your pun in?
Yeah.
Colorado Rockies, I know it's the Rockies, but is this a team that you like at all for large field tournaments? Consider the hitting environment, and then also the fact that they're going up against, a really shitty pitcher.
Yeah, Hunter Goodman, out of every catcher on the slate, he's got the shortest home run odds, plus 330 FanDuel, best available number. There's no other catcher that's remotely close to him. The next guy, I believe, was actually Carlos Narvaez, and his odds have gone up because he's batting 7th or 6th today, plus 420, so plus 425. His lineup order just kind of buried him a little bit there, but I like individual hitters from Colorado, obviously Goodman being one of them. It doesn't matter who they bring in from the pen, still going to like him. And I think Mickey Moniak, we've seen Rich Fitz. I almost just like I know him or something. Yeah, Dick Fitz is definitely he's definitely a guy that has had reverse split stuff going. So like some of the righties are pretty appealing, and Doyle they gave the weekend off to regroup and figure out his life, and that's why Jordan Beck isn't in the lineup. So that's a little frustrating, but Freeman's been getting on base. Goodman's been pretty darn good. Toglia got fixed up a little bit, has had better numbers in the strikeout department of late. Estrada really doesn't strike out. I don't know where the power is coming from, but Ryan McMahon, Moniak, the two lefties in there, I think looking at some of the Boston pen pieces, if Dick Fitz isn't long for this game, I know lefty power isn't great for Fenway relative to righty power, but I mean, just low-owned bats that I think make a lot of sense.
Yeah, so to me, as far as lower-owned teams go, Texas, Colorado, those are the ones I have my eye on. What are the other offenses that are important to you tonight?
What are you doing with Cincinnati against Jansen Junk? Because I just this one's probably the one that I'm worried about getting to the flip on, because we're not projecting them for like anything relative to like, I thought they were going to end up being like 10-12%. And now they're sitting with tied third with Kansas City, which I guess it makes sense. You want to talk about a good game environment. It's 88 degrees with the wind blowing out in Kauffman. So yeah, I guess that makes some sense too. But Toronto against Burke, I think, is going to be popular. What happens with Cincinnati here, though? Because we have them as the most negatively leveraged stack, but they have some cheap pieces. Gavin Lux is 3,200 in a ballpark that everybody can hit homers out of and run into a long ball here or there. Ellie De La Cruz, you brought up during the tiers section, and is somebody who's very interesting there. Will Benson, even in the 8-hole, has outrageous power. And Friedel, Hayes, Steer, Stevenson, we know the quality of hitters that they can be. So, like, Jansen Junk sucks. Why can't we do that? Like, isn't Cincinnati going to be – I mean, are they going to be this popular? Or I thought they were going to be more popular, but are they going to only be 8%?
Well, 8% is still, and I'll once again refresh the ownership just to make sure this is the most recent numbers here. So we've got, they're pretty popular. There's tiers to ownership, right? It's the Red Sox #1 by a mile on DraftKings, and then the Blue Jays, the Royals, and the Reds are all kind of interchangeable as the next most popular team. I have exposure to the Reds, but I have less than what the field has. I have 5% of them on my top 150 lineup. So, yeah, I think it's a reasonable spot to be rostering them. There's just other teams that I view as being kind of comparable that I could get for less ownership and maybe more leverage.
Okay, that's totally fair then. I just kind of look at it and it's like, man, I thought they were going to be the chalk of chalk, and that surely did not end up being the case.
No, it is the Red Sox that are the chalk of chalk for today. So I have 4 teams that I ended up on double-digit exposure to in my top 150 lineups, Eric, and that is the Red Sox, the Rangers, the Rockies, and the Blue Jays.
I ended up with, well, in large field Boston more, but single entry, I'm playing one bat, Willie Abreu. We talked about that before, but Toronto is my second highest now, but yeah, the highest. I am playing Texas in large field and in small field. So go team, go team. Let's rally cup it. Go team.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't done it, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also want to remind you that Portfolio EV, if you're looking to get some MLB and WNBA bets, your first 7 days, totally free with the OddsShopper Portfolio EV tool. So go check that out. And if you like it, you stick around. If you don't, guess what? You can leave after 7 days and you don't have to pay anything. So no reason to not take advantage of a 7-day free trial. One other thing that I want to ask you here, Eric, before we start talking about our home run picks and maybe answering any final questions people have, are you noticing any one-off bats or anything that's showing up in your final exposures that might be different than you were expecting coming into the show?
Nothing that's different than I expected. I mean, I'm getting to the Hunter Goodman piece. Gavin Lux I brought up purely because he's 3,200 and gets me a little bit of cheaper exposure. Addison Barger is batting fifth against a righty, which is a little bit weird to me today. Not really sure why he ends up getting sent further down the line there today. He had routinely, part of it is that I guess Nathan Lukes is undeniable as a leadoff hitter. George Springer has just been out of control. I get the Springer Guerrero Bichette thing, but why wouldn't you just have Addison Barger lead off or bat second behind Springer? Like, I don't understand the configuration there, but 4,100 for him. He's just fine here as well. Other one-off, Ohtani. Ohtani against Peralta. Like, Ohtani looks awesome for tournaments, and I'm a little bit mad that I'm not playing him in single entry, but he's sub 20% on a 9-game slate. You don't get that a lot anymore. It is definitely Shohei Ohtani season, hopefully.
All right, since we got a few minutes to go here, also, you guys start thinking about your home run picks and throw those into chat. What I'm going to do right now is go over with Eric, go back and forth on our favorite players to be rostering at each position, and then if there are no more questions for us after we get through this, then we'll do home run picks, and I'll eat dinner, and we'll take off for the night. So, Eric, for me at catcher, Hunter Goodman, because he's pretty good, man, as you had said before.
Hunter Goodman, for sure.
First base, that is Vlad for me.
That's Vlad Guerrero.
Second base, Marcus Semien. Third base, Ryan McMahon.
Oh, look at you. Gavin Lux.
Shortstop, Corey Seager. Outfield for me, Rob Refschneider, Shohei Ohtani, and then also Wyatt Langford and Rafaela. Some of the outfielders for the Red Sox a little bit more modestly owned, like Rafaela, for instance, 12% owned. That's, nothing too crazy compared to some of the other hitters. What are you liking at outfield?
Yeah, I mean, Rafaela and Refschneider for large field, just fine with it there. But Tommy Pham is actually coming up for me quite a bit in the Sims as well, 2,500. Brian Reynolds, a little bit against Noah Cameron, my guy there. Obviously, it's good hitting weather, but maybe Noah Cameron isn't long for that one. Kansas City's pen, not the bright spot of that organization here as well. I'll give Cam Smith a little shout out here. And I gave David Fry shit, but he's also like around a 28.5% pull air percentage. I think he's interesting as like a one-off piece earlier. So I wanted to bring him up because I was kind of talking shit about him. And then I'm going through my final exposures and it's like, hey, first base catcher, 2,600. Oh, that ended up working out.
By the way, in the chat, News God wants to know, is that Duke behind you? Not only is that Duke, I think, is slept behind Eric for... I mean, I know it's kind of hard to... He's almost like furniture in the background because he never moves. But Duke's been in the background of probably every show for like 6 months now or something.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So he found out that there was air conditioning in here in like a really pronounced way. And he's basically said, fuck you, mom, and just ended up like living out here with me now. So he ends up he will lay around all day and then we'll wake up and we'll throw the ball around in the backyard for a little bit. And he's tired after 5 minutes and he comes back into the air conditioning. So it's been a good run.
It is funny now that I look at it if I had no context, just looked in the background, I would just think it's a rug behind you.
It basically is. Like, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's a rug. My wife, she describes her perfect dog as an ottoman. I'm like, man, that's not great.
Yeah. I mean, now that I'm just looking at it with no context, like, yeah, I wouldn't think anything of it. I wouldn't think that's a dog behind you. I just think, hey, look, there's a fuzzy piece of furniture. But Eric, let's get to some home run picks here. Let us know who you are picking to go yard today. I want to know your dong. I'm going to give out my dong. Then maybe we'll touch dongs, and then we'll read off some dongs from the chat. Eric, who's going yard tonight?
Only I could be so lucky. If only I could be so lucky. Wyatt Langford was my guy last night, working through it all. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's not even tip to tip. It's sword to sword. Just, I mean, we could put a bow tie on it. Yeah. Man, we're fucked up humans. But anyway, we've got Wyatt Langford. I talked about him batting fifth. It's nice to get a little bit of a lineup bump from yesterday up to the 5-hole here for him with no Higashioka there. Yeah, don't really have a whole lot else to add. He has like a 270 expected ISO against lefties. Kikuchi gives up power to righties. Wind's blowing out slightly in Anaheim, 75 at first pitch. And I expect him to just be healthier now. They took enough time to let him get right. I'm glad they did. Wyatt Langford, dong of the day.
Same team, different player. I am going with Marcus Semien, who's my favorite player to be rostering at second base relative to his 6% ownership and a little bit of leverage you're getting there. So that is going to be my pick there. Marcus Semien. Now let's see what chat has for us for home run picks. We've got, this is a funny way to, Nice Kevin says, Kyle Stowers probably. All right. I've never seen somebody, I've never seen a less confident home run pick. Just like, yeah, this guy will probably homer. Pierre going with Roman Anthony. Duckman is going with George Springer to 2 homers. Josh Plays DFS is going with Trevor Story. Van Dam NYC is going with Perez. I assume that's Salvador Perez. Are there other Perez's on the slate today? Let me think.
Sal.
He's the only hitter.
Is not in the lineup for Detroit today. I know that was on the game that's earlier when Seal Perez was out of the lineup.
Yeah, so it would just be Salvador Perez, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Whatever. I'm saying Salvador Perez. And if I forgot somebody and it was somebody else, then I'll just never know. Jack Flash, Alejandro Kirk. Mighty Quinn is going with Sal Frelick. Dirty O is going with Gurriel. Steven Leibowitz has got George Springer. Sotex has got Corbin Carroll. Doug Dobbs is going with Tommy Pham. Malukar has got Eugenio Suarez. Aaron Hines has Christian Yelich. Fact 74 going with Jose Ramirez. Mighty Quinn also throwing in George Springer. We've got Barnaby O'Toole going with Will Benson. Let's see. We've got B-Funk going with Rafaela. We've got NY Siegel going with Jesus Sanchez. We've got Charles Moran going with Lourdes Gurriel. Nicholas Robertson going with Hunter Goodman. I hope so. That would be good for my lineups. Marvin H. has got Jesus Sanchez. We've got Joe Ski going with Nate Eaton. We've got Nicholas Barrett is going with Adolis Garcia. Mike Campbell has got Shohei Ohtani. Matty Ice has got Nathan Lukes. We've got Harlock going with Trevor Story. We've got Doug Dobbs going with Salvador Perez. We've got Eugenio Suarez from EMAC, Mickey Moniak from Jeff Williams, Jake McCarthy from Chad Wiseman, William Abreu from Patrick Maduke. R. Cathel's got Mike Trout. Rooster Slinky's got Austin Hayes. Clintwood 83's got Corey Seager. Big Kev has got Jose Altuve. Tizzle Maine has got Cedane Rafaela. Comer has got Hunter Goodman. We've got Jesus Sanchez from Comment God. Josh Naylor from the News God. We've got Vlad from Trip. Vlad as well from Daryl Smith. Red Skittles is going with Tyro Sanchez. Max Video's got Trevor Story. Benny Tingman's got Mookie Betts. James Elwood's got Bobby Witt. Lots of home run picks today. Orlando Hewitt has got Vlad and Ellie De La Cruz. And then we've got Isaac Paredes from SVT Mike. And then finally, Rance going with Fernando Tatis. So guys, thank you very much for watching. One more time, if you haven't done yet, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you are looking for content on the late slate today, I am just in a few minutes going to be posting a late slate breakdown to my Twitter page. So just go check that out. I've got a breakdown of the main slate up there. It's pinned, and then I'm just going to be posting a follow-up video with the late slate underneath that. So guys, go check that out. If you're going to be playing the late slate, Eric's doing the Macarena over there. Have a good night. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow.